Nathan, you've done a really wonderful job so far. There's a couple of things. This design stuff can take years actually to get really good at, but there's a couple of tips I have for you that I've picked up over my own years as programming. One of them, I would say, with your room class, as a rule of thumb, as a rule of thumb, I never provide. Well, I never say never, but as a rule, I don't provide accessors with that return collections. And the reason is that you might want to change the way that you store things. Okay, so actually, I think probably a hash map would be, or might be a better way to store items in here. But so let's just say we wanted to, how would you implement this in such a way that you're not exposing the array list? Well, you could write let me paste this in here. You could write get item with the name of the item, and just do something like this. If what is it? So item name equals item get name, something like that. Then return the item, and then otherwise you return null. And this would be just get items. This would be for getting a single item. Just make sure that's right. Okay. And then let's comment this guy out and see what breaks when we compile here. All right. So in your take command, what you could do is just try to get the item by name here. So you could say item equals current room get item, pass it the name, and then we don't need this. And layout. Yeah, and it looks like that's all we needed. I think. Let me just make sure everything else compiles. Yeah, everything else compiles. So so yeah, I would get rid of that. And then, like I said, if you decided later on, hey, you know what, it would be easier if this was just a hash map, because then you could just, use get or remove and everything with the name. You could do that. Another thing that I saw that was in your take command here. There are lots of references in here to player. Okay, and that's kind of a sign when you have a chunk of code in player here. when you have a chunk of code that has lots of references to another class, that's kind of a sign that maybe some of this stuff should be moved to the other class. Okay, so maybe some of this stuff could be processed over in the player class. So you could have, it makes sense to me to have the game class, you know, interpreting all the commands and getting the command words and everything. But you could have this code, you could move this code over to your player class and just do something like, you know, player take item, and just have it return the item, and then check and see, you know, if the item's null or whatever. So what would that look like? Well, let's just see. Let's do a cut here, and player dot take item, and then just stick a take item in here. Public returns an item, take item, string name. Oh. And this kind of falls under the category of, you know, making sure that the class the class that has the data maintains responsibility for that data, basically. Okay, so let's see. We already, what are those fields called? Weight and max weight. Okay, so we don't need this. And boom, boom, boom. What else? We have to get these calls out, right? So item equals that. Well, okay. So yeah. So if the item weighs too much, we're going to return a null. So let's do it this way. So we can return a null, or we can return the item. And then let's say if neither of those cases, like if it was a bad item name or whatever, we can just also return null. Okay, and then we have to move these printlns back into the game class, right? So game class. So you could do like this. You could do item equals player take item, and like so if item is null, well, if item is null, that means either it wasn't in the room or you couldn't pick it up. So maybe we could just put something like pick up. You know, you might also decide you want to have a more sophisticated return value, so you can have more choices about you know, what you're going to print out. But you know, like if it weighs too much, return something else. I don't know. But then let's move this one out. Cut. And this will be the else part, right? paste that. And auto layout. Yeah, so something like that. Oh yeah, and we don't need to say player anymore, right? Because we are the player. Okay. So yeah, so the reason for doing this, so see, now we have only one call to player over here. So it's just kind of putting the responsibility on the player to handle things involving its own data. Okay, and also you might want to check out sometime. There's this site called SourceMaking that has a lot of cool stuff on refactoring and design and stuff like that, and kind of walks you through code smells. So this just gives you a bunch of hints about, you know, things that aren't very pretty, aren't good practice in code, because it's going to make life more difficult for you, or for the next person who has to make changes to your code. And again, like I said, it can take years to really get the feel for some of this stuff. But I just wanted to give you some a couple of ideas, and but like I said, overall you're doing a really fantastic job. And as far as like the problem 640 through 641, if you just pull like one or two of those that look cool to you, then I'm happy. Okay, so anything that you think would be interesting out of these, or if there's something else that you're dying to implement that you think would be cool, just run it by me first. But otherwise, read through all of these, and if whatever strikes you, go ahead and do that. And again, you're doing a fantastic job, so keep up the great work.